In today's lecture and the next few lectures, we're going to talk about pivoting. We're going to assume that our target is this metasploitable device. Now, each one of these circles, the big circles, we're going to assume is a network. And as you can see, the metasploitable device is not visible by the hacker. So the hacker cannot see this device. This device is hidden either behind the network or for some other reason, the hacker is not able to ping or access the IP address of this device. So we're assuming in our example that it exists in a different internal network. So we can see that this big network has 4 devices. It has the metasploitable device, it has an iPhone, another device, and the Windows device which we hacked, and we can see that it's in red. And the hacker exists in this smaller network, and there's only 2 devices. There is the hacker and the red device, the Windows 10 device, which we hacked. So the target of pivoting is we use the device that we hacked, the common device in the middle, to compromise other devices that only this device has access to. So our target, the hacker, cannot see the target, which is the Metasploit device. But the device that we just hacked, the Windows device, can see that device because they're in the same network. Now, to replicate this network layout, we'll need to modify the network settings of the virtual machines in our lab. So I have VMware running here already, and I'm going to zoom in. And first of all, I just want to show you the network settings for Kali. So I'm going to click on Edit Settings. And if we click on Network, you'll notice that it is connected to a NAT network. This is the option that we've been using throughout the course, and I'm actually going to keep it the same because Kali is the machine that we use to hack into other computers. It's going to be connected to the NAT network, and we're going to use it to gain our initial access to the Windows machine. So let's go ahead and have a look on the Windows machine. So I'm going to click it here, and I'm going to click on its settings. And we're going to go to Network. And if we zoom in, you'll see that this is connected to a NAT network. We need this because, as I said, we're going to use the Kali machine to hack into this machine to gain our initial access. But if we go back to the layout, you'll notice that the Windows machine is going to be the machine that we're going to use as a pivot to hack into the other network. So it's going to be the link between the 2 networks, the network that Kali is connected to and an unreachable network to Kali that we actually want to hack through Kali. Therefore, because this is supposed to be a pivot, and as we can see in this layout, it needs to be connected to 2 networks. So right now it's already connected to the NAT network in here, as we can see, which is the same network that Kali is connected to, and we need this to gain our initial access. But we're also going to click on the add in here, and we're going to add another network adapter for this computer so that it has 2 network adapters so that we can connect it to 2 networks. And we're going to set this network settings to bridged instead of NAT. So now Windows has 2 network adapters. Adapter 1 is connected to a NAT network, which is the same network that Kali is connected to so that we can gain initial access to it. And then it's also connected to another network that Kali cannot see. It's an unreachable network to Kali. And that's the goal of this scenario. It's the goal of this module, to try to reach this unreachable network. And this second network, we set it to use a bridged connection. So we're happy with this. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to go to the Metasploitable computer. And we're actually going to set this computer to also be connected to the same bridged network that the Windows machine is connected to. So this way, this Metasploitable machine is unreachable to Kali because it's connected to a completely different network than Kali. Therefore, Kali cannot directly communicate with it and cannot hack it even if it's vulnerable. Therefore, we're going to have to hack into the Windows machine, use the Windows machine as a pivot because it is the link between the 2 computers, between the 2 networks, to hack into this unreachable network or into this unreachable computer. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to click on OK, and we are done now. So let's go back to the network layout with labels now. And as you can see now, we have both Kali and Windows are connected to the NAT network, and therefore they can communicate with each other. Like I said, we're going to gain our initial access through this Windows network, and then we're going to set up pivoting rules so we can use the Windows machine to access the unreachable Metasploitable machine. On the other hand, we have the Metasploitable machine, its network settings set to Brest, so it's unreachable to Kali, but it's reachable to the Windows machine because we configured the Windows machine to have two adapters, one of them connected to the same network as Kali, and the other connected to the same network as Metasploitable, and therefore, if somebody wants to hack into Metasploitable, they'll have to hack into Kali and use it as a pivot to access this unreachable network. Now that we understand the concept of pivoting, it's really not that difficult to perform. All we need to do is we can upload any tool we need to use. For example, if you wanted to use Nmap or ARP spoof or dsniff, you can upload any of these tools, run them on this computer, which is connected to this big network, and then you can run a port scanner on this. You can do ARP poisoning and do man-in-the-middle attacks like we done before. So it's very simple. All they have to do is use the upload command. Upload it here and use it from the command line like we were using it anyway in the previous videos. What I'm going to show you today is how to set up a route between the hacked computer and your computer so that you can use any Metasploit auxiliary or module against this big network. So we'll be able to use Metasploit exploits, we'll be able to use port scanners that come in with Metasploit and other useful modules. To do that, we're going to use a module called AutoRoute. Let me show you first how, if I try to run exploit on the target computer, on the Metasploitable computer, it's not going to work because it's not visible to me. So I'm going to do a sessions list, and you'll see that I already have a connection with the Windows computer here, so I've already hacked it. And I'm going to use exploit multi Samba and user map script. Now, we already used this exploit against the Metasploitable before, but it was on the same network, so it was visible to us. What we're doing now is trying to attack a device that is not visible to us. And then I'm going to do show options. I'm going to set my rhost to 10.20.15.4 because that's the IP of the Metasploitable device. Then I'm going to do show payloads. And I'm going to use this payload right here. So I'm going to do set payload to this, show options, everything set up properly, so I'm going to do exploit. And you'll see that this exploit will time out because if we go back to the diagram here, this device cannot see this device. So it's trying to run an exploit on this device, even though this device has that vulnerability, but I won't be able to use it because I can't see that device. And as you can see now, the exploit failed, connection timeouts, we just couldn't connect to the target computer. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to interact with my interpreter on ID1. So sessions I1. So I'm in my interpreter. I'm going to run ifconfig first to see what my network look like, or the networks that the target computer is connected to. So we can see all the interfaces connected to the target computer, and I'm going to look for interfaces with IP addresses. So we have this interface number 4 has an IP address. And we can see that this IP address is on our network, so it's really not very useful. It's already on our network. We're on the 10.20.14 anyway, on that subnet. So this one is not very useful for me. Another one that I can see is this one, which is connected to 10.20.15.5. So it's on a different subnet right here, which I cannot see from my Kali Linux device. So I'm going to try to set up a route between this subnet and my current subnet. So I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to background my current session. So I'm back into Metasploit. And I'll clear this. Then I'm going to use post manage Now, by the way, at any stage of this, if you wanted to see all the managed modules, for example, you can just leave it at this and double tap. And you'll see all the managed modules, and you can try and use them and experiment with them. So the one that we want to use is AutoRoute. And I'm going to do show options to see the options that I can set. And we have two options that we need to set. We need to set the session that we had and the subnet. So I'm going to set the session first, and it's session number 1. And then I'm going to set the subnet to what we seen when we did the ifconfig command. It was 10.20.15, and I'm going to put a 0 to it. So again, we're using the sets, very simple commands we already learned. We set in the session to number 1, that's the session that we hacked for the Windows, and the subnet is the subnet which the Windows is connected to and we don't have access to. So it's the 10.20.15 0. And I'm going to do exploit. And this will create the connection or the route between my device and the Windows device. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the same exploit that I tried at the start of the video, and you'll see that the exploit is going to work because the Windows device is visible to me now. So instead of using the exploit, you can use, as I said, port scanners or discovery modules that come in with Metasploit or any other module that come with Metasploit, because my device can now see the target computer. It can see this Metasploitable device because it was not visible for me at the start, but now I have a connection to this computer and I set up a route between this network and my computer so I can actually see the Metasploitable device now. So I'm going to use the same exploit I used before. And it was exploit multi-Samba user map script. Just clear that. Now I'm going to show the options and I'm going to leave them the same because everything is actually set up correctly. So I'm just going to do exploit. And as you can see now, command shell was started properly. And I actually have access to the Metasploitable device now. So I can do ID and I'm root. I can do a uname A to just confirm that's for you. And we can see that we're in the Metasploitable device, and I can run any Linux command that I want. So I can do ls ewd, and I should be in the root. And I can do cd, go to var, for example, and do any Linux command that I want. So I basically have full access to the target computer. Now again, as I said, you could upload stuff and run them from the target computer, but it's not always a good idea to upload things to a hacked computer. So setting up the routes like this and using pivoting is a much safer choice. And I highly recommend that you go and have a look on other Metasploitable modules, because Metasploit is really, really big. It's hard for me to cover everything. I just covered the main basic stuff. But you can always just go in and have a look on other modules and try them. Using the modules is usually the same. We had a look on a broad array of modules, so it should be easy to just configure options and run these modules the way you want.